Well, next, Chris visits Martell at his investment property.
Yeah.
Chris has someone who might be interested, so we get like a little bit of business talk before we get into the mess.
Uh-huh.
So Chris and Nell talked, of course, and Chris thinks Nell deserves an apology for Martell calling her a side chick.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris explains that he was separated on paper and Nell was never a side chick.
Mm.
Martell eventually says that he won't call her that, and they kind of shake on it.
Yeah, eventually.
Yes. Chris asked about, so what was this picture or this video about with Mel? And Martell denies the video, and then Chris asks, okay, well, was it a picture or a screenshot from the video? Was anyone naked on it?
Mm-hmm.
And Martell says, ask Melody to see what it was.
No, I'm asking you, though.
Because he says he got rid of the picture, video, whatever it was.
What?
And Chris asks him, man to man, what's the resolution?
Mm-hmm.
And Martell says, what's it going to take for her to stop?
What?
Chris says again, I'm asking you, what's the resolution? Martell says that he makes mistakes, but then he backtracked and said, well, the text message wasn't a mistake because he was being bullied. So pretty much from Martell's side, there is no resolution. It all is based off of what Mel does.
What are your thoughts?
I think that's very childish and immature of Martell, but he's shown himself to be childish and immature. So at this point, we can't really expect much of him. I appreciate Chris for trying to hold him accountable because it seems like nobody does. And it seemed like Chris was trying to get to the bottom of it to get Martell to speak some truth.
Yeah.
But Martell just refuses to. So I think that at a certain point, we probably do need to see less and less of Martell because he really isn't bringing anything of value. So
I'm telling you, y'all better start loving Moses. Moses is Martell 2.0. He's basically going to have the same characteristics of Martell without the criminal stuff. You get what I'm saying? The lies, the bad timeline and things like that, but just without the criminal stuff so you don't feel so bad about liking him. I'm telling y'all. Martell, in this scene, Chris is basically like, so we friends, right? We friends enough that I can tell you when to apologize to my wife, right? We friends enough to where you can subpoena me to court. Right. You get what I'm saying? We friends enough to where if this is your investment property, Martell, if someone wants to buy it, I'll let you know and they could go to my wife's daycare right down the street. Right. So as friend, when I'm coming to you and I'm asking you directly what happened, right? And you're telling me the same storyline that you told my wife. You're saying the same storyline that you told Marsau and Maurice and basically the world. Chris asked the questions that a friend would ask because it's direct and it gets straight to the point.
Right.
First, Marsau said that he ain't got a video, right? He said Melanie got the video, right? Which we already know that's a lie, right? Or basically he said Melanie's the only one who got the video. We already know that's a lie. And then he said, hey, pull up the text. Pull out your phone. Let me see. And he was like, you ain't see? Ask Melody to show you. I'm like, I'm not talking to Melody.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So all these things that Chris was asking, this is when it benefits being an older person, right? Someone who's over 50, who live life and stuff like that, who have teenage kids, who have adult kids. Because this reminds me of a parent basically questioning their kid and things like that. Hey, what happened in the text? What did you say in the text? To the point to where, and he even said it had to be something to the point that you got arrested now. It just can't be nothing.
Yeah.
Because you're telling me nothing and you're telling me it was nothing, but yet it was enough that the cops felt the need to put an arrest warrant out for you. So that in itself is a lie. Hey, I got a son that been arrested.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean? And guess what? We still got his dog.
Yeah.
So don't give me the run around about like it's nothing. So when I ask you, is it a video? Okay, it's not a video. Did you send a picture of the video? Okay. Was there any nudity in the picture? He just kept pressing to the point where I felt like Martell was uncomfortable with the questions because eventually each lie is just making the box smaller and smaller and smaller that he can't escape.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, yo, be prepared for this season. I may be wrong, but be prepared for this season to be the last season that y'all see Martell Holt. I'm telling y'all. Because it's to the point where he's lying to people now over criminal stuff. Right? I know Martell always been crazy. I know Martell always been
dishonest.
And we can live with that, right? With the crazy, dishonest, scum even, But once it starts getting into the season starting off with Melanie with a security team putting cameras around her house so she can feel safe, because she got a criminal ex-husband. Now we are in a position to where, do we value Martell or do we value Melody?
And at this point, we know he's been convicted. So it kind of adds more fuel to the fire of how are we handling this Martell situation. So
and listen, last week I told Kimmy and Tisha to pick a side, right? Now I'm telling Carlos, pick a side. You get what I'm saying? Now you are in a position to where, unfortunately, and even when I tell Carlos this, I'm not putting the onus on him, right? Martell has made this bed as uncomfortable as possible. I feel like Melody could have recorded a show with her ex-husband if he was just a regular ex-husband.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? But he had done everything in his power to not be a regular ex-husband. Mm-hmm. So now it's to the point to where maybe your employee / producer feel unsafe filming with him, right? To the point where you ain't see Melody at all this episode, right? It's causing division in the cast, which will cause eventually division in your show. So now it's like, do we pick Martell or do we pick Melody? And I already know who we gonna pick.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Anything else on